10 video games that lie to your face. Let's see this. Why not? Why not?
One of the things you think that a game is always going to do is at least give you the right information. Sometimes they don't though, and it's on purpose. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Gameranx, 10 side quests that lied to us. Starting off with number 10, a baby is born from dying light. Play enough games with side quests and you probably start to notice an unsettling pattern. These people aren't so much desperate people who need your help, but more kind of lazy jerks. I mean, they're at least honest about it generally, but this guy, no. He just lies straight to your face. While wandering around the slums, you can hear a woman screaming. When you go to investigate, a guy opens the door and tells you there's a woman giving birth in there and that he needs some alcohol as a disinfectant. Sounds pretty similar as many other fetch quests you get in this game. So you find some alcohol and oops, he actually needs more. 2 bottles isn't enough for him, and by the 3rd bottle, he's looking pretty drunk. Kind of like he's not using the alcohol for medical purposes at all.
You got some more?
Yeah, here.
Oh, cheers. Bye.
So you break into the house and you find out the truth. There's nobody giving birth, just a guy having a party and was looking for an excuse to get booze. You don't even get anything for your trouble other than some survivor points, and that's just, I mean, who cares? It's just a big waste of time. At number 9 is Geology for Beginners from Red Dead Redemption 2. A lot of strangers you meet in Red Dead, series-wide, aren't entirely truthful with you about what they're up to. But by far the strangest lie comes from Francis Sinclair from the mission Geology for Beginners. How it starts is that you meet this guy at his house, and he asks you to find 10 rock carvings for him. Simple enough, and similar to plenty of other quests you get in this game. The conclusion, very wild though. After finding the rock carvings and returning to the hut, you find out Francis wasn't really honest with you, and not in a way you would expect him to be lying either. When you return, Francis is nowhere to be seen, but his mother is there holding a baby with a birthmark on its face that's very similar to Francis Sinclair's. So I guess the guy you talked to was a time traveler or something. I don't know.
You'll think I'm jazzed if I tell you.
You what?
Drunk?
Are you?
No, I wish. No, I'm
liar.
lost. It's a long story.
It would have been nice if he told you that ahead of time. It's really confusing because worst of all, you don't get the large sum of money he promised you for doing this because he's a baby without a large sum of money, without a small sum of money. He's a baby. And number 8 is Infiltration from the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. The primary adversary of the Fighters Guild in Oblivion is the Blackwood Company, a collection of violent mercenaries that you eventually infiltrate in one of the Fighters Guild quests. Basically, the guild wants you to find out what it is that's giving Blackwood Company an edge in combat, and it doesn't take long to figure it out.
Here's what happened to me then. All right. Alright, so this is how I learned about the Thieves Guild in Oblivion. You first need to finish the Thieves Guild campaign. And the reason for it is because you will need to steal things from people of the Mage Academy and the Fighters Academy, no Academy, you know, guild, Mage Guild and Fighters Guild. So you need to steal from them, and if you didn't upgrade the skills to do that, they will punish you. And as in a higher rank that you are, the punish is worse. So what happened to me here, that exactly that I was in a high rank in the Fighters Guild, and then I need to steal something from them here, and just
when you're pretending to be a new recruit for the Blackwood Company, you get sent on your first mission to clear out some goblins in the town of Water's Edge, which sounds pretty benign, obviously. Before you go, however, they give you a special potion
what the hell is this character? Someone really smooshed his face. What do you... Why?
knocks you out. When you come to, you're already at the location, and the town's completely overrun with goblins. So, you do what anyone would do, you kill them all, and once they're all gone, you black out again, and return to company headquarters, and everybody congratulates you on a job well done. What you saw wasn't actually what happened, though. When you return to the town, you find that everyone is dead, and the goblins you slayed were actually the villagers and their sheep. Like, it was all a hallucination, created by the potion.
Yep.
It's like a very low-tech version of that episode of Black Mirror, where they make everybody look like zombies, but they're not zombies, and that's how they have all of the military doing a bunch of murders. Yeah, it's a
like
pretty
a
nasty
looking
trick to
zombie.
pull on the player. Good job, hero. You're a mass murderer now. And number 7 is the Patches side quest from Elden Ring. At this point, it's common knowledge that
haven't
old
played
Patches
it.
is a liar. Usually he lies about his loyalty or how friendly he is before stabbing you in the back in some way, but in Elden Ring, he goes one step further and literally just tries to goad you into doing something dangerous. After finding him in Murkwater Cave, he engages you in a short fight before surrendering. If you leave and then come back later, you find a new chest next to him. If you ask about it, he suggests that it contains some valuable things. He doesn't go so far as to tell you to take it, but he certainly implies that it's worth opening. Now, it's of course a trap. Opening the chest teleports you to the Mistwood ruins, smack dab in the middle of Mistwood, where you're surrounded by deadly rune bears. And that's only the start of the tricks that Patches pulls on you in this game. But it's probably the best trick he pulls on you, so it's probably the one that's worth a mention.
Oh, you had me proper scared, puffing away in a flash like that. Well, maybe it's a sign to keep your mitts off what's not rightly yours, hmm?
And number 6 is the Buck Hughes questline from Far Cry 3. One of the most common quest giver cliches out there is the old guy tells you to do something, then betrays you at the end
this game
trope.
as well.
These guys are a dime a dozen, and Buck is no different. The thing that really
I
makes
don't know. Far Cry franchise was I played the first Far Cry when I was young, and I'm very happy that I had never finished it back then. But I played it when I was young, and it was I played it with a friend. I didn't have a strong enough computer to run that game at that time. Just a second. If you can hear the TV, that's okay. So I did enjoy. I played it on stream. This is the only game that I ever had. I ever managed to connect to while streaming. Well, was the Far Cry Primal, which I really enjoyed. But it's different from the other Far Cry games. Now, a few months back, I tried to play a game. Tried to play Far Cry, the first Far Cry again. I didn't finish it either. I don't know. I just didn't enjoy those creatures and all that. I didn't enjoy that part of the game, so that's why I'm happy that I didn't play it when I was younger, because it would have messed with my brain more than the horror movie that I used to see back then.
makes him stand out, I guess, is how long he strings on the lie, but maybe that's even outshone by how ultimately pointless it is. The basics for this one are that this guy named Buck is holding one of your friends captive, and the only way Buck will let your friend go is you do a job for him. Thing is, job's not exactly small. It basically turns into Indiana Jones as you explore multiple ancient ruins and find an especially valuable Chinese knife. When you do finally get it, return to Buck, surprise, surprise, he tries to betray you. Of course, this is where you just kill him in a hand-to-hand fight, leaving players to wonder exactly what was stopping them from killing this guy in the first place. There's so much to this whole series that feels like a trick. The quasi-magical powers of the knife never explored. The whole ancient ruins subplot never returned to. Whole section of the game basically just a bunch of stuff that happens just because. They're fun missions, don't get me wrong, but this Buck guy was an obvious liar that nobody in their right mind would actually trust. And when the betrayal happens, you're just like, finally, beat, stab, stab. And number 5 is Who is the Captain from Sonic 2006. I guess to say Sonic 2006 has a bunch of dumb and pointless missions
Yeah.
would be understatement of the year, 2006. But this one's definitely one of the dumbest. At a certain point of the game, you find this guard blocking your way to the next area. Only way to get through him is to play this stupid little game he's concocted. To get through, you got to talk to the guard lieutenant, and the guy blocking your way says it's not him. So you have to run around and ask the other guards who they think the lieutenant is.
yeah, damn
Once
it.
you've collected all the info,
what's going
then it's
on
up to you to decide which guard is actually the lieutenant. Surprise, surprise, the guy blocking your way was the lieutenant. He was lying to your face about it,
Thought so.
saying he wasn't, purely to waste your time. As usual with this game, for some reason this quest, which takes place on the same map and involves NPCs who are already there, requires multiple loading screens before you can play it, making the time wasted much more than it would have been otherwise, which, by the way, not insignificant how much time is wasted. 100% of the
right.
time that is spent on this mission is wasted. And the twist, obvious, something you saw from a mile away, like, oh,
Obviously.
you're telling me you're not the lieutenant, and you're telling me to go talk to all the other guards about who the lieutenant is? Oh, I'll just go do that and come back to you, who's giving orders to me about the other guards. He's so obviously the lieutenant from, like, the instant that you start this thing. The only way you
Yeah.
wouldn't know is if you're distracted by all the loading screens. Waste of time. Annoying waste of time.
This guy.
And number 4, an author's discreet charm, part 2 from Gravity Rush 2, which is a game with some very odd side quests. Some of them are painfully mundane, others are totally bizarre. In this quest, you meet up with an author who's known for getting a little too involved in their own stories, and they become quite convinced that the people of the city have been taken over by scarabs, the
I'm not
common
talking about
black
the one.
blob monsters you fight in this game. Seems like a joke at first, but the people are acting kind of strangely, and the only way to get through them is to act like you've been possessed as well. At the end of the quest, it looks like everyone has been possessed, with like a Invasion of the Body Snatchers style ending, but it's a side quest, it's not the end of the game, so it is all revealed to be a hoax played on the main character by the author's editor. And that seems like it's another trick, but eventually they manage to convince Kat that it was a big joke. The author gets sent to a special room and everything ends happily enough, I guess. It's also weird, like very, very weird. Did I mention that this game has some weird side missions? Because, yeah, this is one of them. And number 3 is Justice from Dragon Age 2. Most of the time, the characters pulling tricks on you in side quests are just random one-shot characters you never see again, but not here. In Dragon Age 2, one of your primary party members tricks you into being an accomplice in a terrorist plot. This may be the number one reason why Anders in Dragon Age 2 is such a divisive character. Instead of straight up telling you he's planning to convince you to get involved, instead he lies to your face a bunch of times, telling you to get ingredients, telling you that you're collecting these things to separate him from the spirit that's possessing his body. Yeah, it's Dragon Age, so, like, I guess that's plausible, right? Sounds fair enough. But once you get all the ingredients and progress the story here, you find out, no, that's not what Anders was doing. Instead, he was building a bomb that he uses to blow up the Chantry.
Goddamn.
Love or hate the Chantry, that's pretty messed up. Like, let's say you hate the Chantry and wanted to blow it up. I think Anders could have probably said what he was doing ahead of time. I often like to know if I'm involved in a bombing plot, even if I don't like the people that are being bombed. Lying chump, this guy. And number 2 is the Vacant House from Earthbound. Kind of a stretch to call this a side quest, but in Earthbound, you can actually buy a house if you want. It's a side thing, you don't have to do it, so I'm just counting it. This is a game, you're playing as a group of kids, and all the money you get is given to you by father at the start, so owning a piece of property isn't exactly the first thing I'd expect to be able to do. It's not cheap either, at least in terms of the game. It costs $7,500, which is basically a fortune if you're a kid, so it seems like a fair price. The real estate agent says the house has a full ocean view too, so it sounds like a pretty sweet deal. Of course, when you buy the house, you find out the agent wasn't really being honest with you. The couch, the bed, ratty, holes in the floor, ocean view, kind of a hole in the wall. In fact, specifically a hole in the wall. That's all it is, it's a hole in the wall.
What are you complaining about? You get a nice view of the sea. So what if you can feel the air? Come on. Just a big ass window that you can't even close. That's all.
Wall. It's a lemon. The guy screwed you out of $7,500. And for what? You own a house now. Congrats. Enjoy paying taxes, I guess, child. And finally, at number 1, the Beardy Baldy quest from Fable. It's a hilariously cruel side quest you can find in Bowerstone Quay, where you find an old man sitting on a bench. He says he's got a beautiful daughter looking for a man to marry, but if you want to win her heart, you got to change your appearance. Now, the appearances he gives you are pretty unflattering. You have to become bald and put on a series of silly mustaches before the guy comes clean and reveals he does not have a daughter and that he is just messing with you. I mean, frankly, not the worst prank in the world. I mean, I gotta give it to this guy. He got me. I don't know why I thought his beautiful daughter would want a bald, goofy weirdo, but like, I guess, sure. I was in the market for a bride sight unseen, so clearly I have problems as well. I think what I like about this one, most of the time when a side quest lies to you, it either wants something from you or the person has like a personal vendetta against you, or like they think they can outsmart you, or they have something that's better than this legendary hero that they want to prove. But this guy is none of that. He's just some random jerk who's messing with people. Like, I guess Johnny Knoxville's ancestors in Fable. That's all for today, though. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget.
Nice. That was nice. Watching this video was nice. I will find other videos to react to in future reactions. You know,